As you can see, our Expresso shave-a-thon is firmly underway outside. The gentlemen getting their beards and moustaches shaved, all in honor of Movember. But right now, this is an Expresso first. We're about to take off, break through the atmosphere, and enter space. I never thought in my lifetime I'd ever have the chance to sit down face-to-face with a real-life astronaut. This is something spectacular, and we're very, very lucky to be joined by Dr. Don Thomas, who was at NASA for 20 years and has completed 4 missions to space and clocking in about 1,040 hours during that time. And he's in South Africa to speak to schools on behalf of an NGO called Living Maths. Dr. Thomas, thank you so much for being here.
It is great to be here with Expresso this morning. Thanks for inviting me.
And just as I was saying that intro, and just kind of trying to picture in my mind all the wonderful things you've seen, all the wonderful things, the stories you have to tell. I can only imagine what that tour is going to be like when you're speaking to kids at school. So tell us a bit more about what brings an astronaut to South Africa.
Well, I'm here with Living Maths, and what we do working together is trying to get young students excited and inspired to study math, science, engineering fields. And so we've been going around the schools, and we'll be doing that over the next 2 weeks throughout South Africa. And I show them pictures of the Earth from space, tell them about what it's like to live and work up there. And I tell them my message about never giving up, always following your dream, and just never giving up on that.
Now, if one were to take it back, you were telling me earlier on that you dreamt of being an astronaut and being in space from the age of 6. What was it about science and space that fascinated you so much?
When I was 6 years old, I watched the first American launch into space at my school, and as I watched that, I just said, I want to do that. So I just had that dream of going in space. I love the idea of going places where no one's ever been before, exploring new worlds. And the descriptions of the astronauts of floating in zero gravity and watching sunrises, I just wanted to do that myself.
Looking at these pictures must bring back quite a lot of memories.
It does.
For
There's some great memories there.
Tell me about the amount of training and what it takes to become an astronaut.
The training is extensive. Once you get selected to be an astronaut, it was 4 years of training for my first mission. For a 15-day mission to space, 4 years of training. There's just so much you need to know about the spacesuits, how the shuttle operates, all of our procedures, and what to do if there's a problem or some emergency. So it's quite extensive training.
What was the most challenging bit for you?
The most challenging part, I think, for every astronaut is getting all that information in your head and not forgetting it. So we train and we repeat what we're doing so it becomes second nature for us.
I think most importantly, you're going to be going around the country doing talks at schools. For those that won't have the fortune of being there and hearing you talk and hearing those stories, what would be your most important message that you'd want to give to them?
You know, the message is to work hard every single day for all the students. Work hard in school, do your best on every subject, whatever you're working on, and to never, never give up on that dream. It took me 4 tries applying to become an astronaut before I was successful. So I was turned down 3 times. Felt like giving up, but I knew I'm going to keep trying. And I encourage all young students, never give up and follow your dream.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to hear a little bit more from you, and I'm hoping that you'll stay with us for a little while longer, as we'll be talking a little bit more to Professor or Dr. Thomas a little bit later on about his adventures in space, all these things about weightlessness, seeing the Earth from up there, how many sunrises, what do they actually look like from up there? So many questions to ask, and we'll be chatting to him a bit later on.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yeah, well, from flying kites to taking off into outer space, Dr. Don Thomas is here on a South African tour with an organization called Living Maths, and here to inspire our young people to dream big as he did once in his life. And look at where he is right now, a certified NASA astronaut who's been on 4 missions, and he's been regaling us with stories of the most wonderful things that he's seen. But what I wanted to ask about was something called the overview effect. And if you could explain that to us from somebody who's actually experienced it, what is that?
Yeah, once you leave Earth and get far above it, from a couple hundred kilometers to thousands of kilometers, your perspective of the planet changes. And I think for every astronaut, it changes in how you view your place on the planet. I grew up in the city of Cleveland, Ohio, so I used to always tell people, I'm from Cleveland. That's how I identified myself. Today, I say I'm from Earth. And it doesn't matter to me what city you're from, what country, what continent, what religion you follow. None of that matters. We're all Earthlings here, and we all need to take better care of our planet. And every astronaut who goes to space they come back with that more global perspective.
Yeah.
You know, we're all similar.
And speaking of which, you were telling me earlier on about some of the most beautiful things that you have seen from outer space.
I've seen the top of Mount Everest 25 times with my own eyes. I've seen Victoria Falls. I've seen Mount Kilimanjaro poking up through the clouds. You know, the Amazon rainforest, the Great Barrier Reef. The list just goes on of amazing sights that I've seen with my own eyes that as a young boy I only saw in books.
That we now see in Google.
Google.
Doctor, I have to say, you're not just inspiring young people. I think most of us have been inspired, and I love the way that your eyes light up when you go back into that headspace. We've had so many, first of all, messages of inspiration, of thank yous coming through. So thank you again so much. A couple of questions here coming in online. You mentioned that overview effect, but how does it feel? This one coming in from Nabela Norbert saying, my question is, what comes into your mind every time you fly? What is the first thing you think about? It must be terrifying.
When you're strapped onto the rocket there waiting for countdown, you know, it's very quiet, peaceful time. You know there's a risk that this thing could blow up any second. So I always tell people I'm about 10% scared out of my mind and 90% just pure adrenaline. Let's go do this. So any astronaut who tells you they're not scared during launch, they're either lying or they're crazy. Those are the two options, because you should be respectful of the danger that you're going through.
And you guys are so well trained by the time you get to that
We're
point,
well
you know?
trained, training for a number of years before your mission. You're ready to go on launch morning.
And this one, I'm going to get quite controversial here, because this one, I think it really does underpin why you're here to inspire. Stephen Ballmer saying, should governments not rather be spending the money on our own planet and finding solutions for problems here on Earth?
Well, we find a lot of solutions for problems on Earth up in space. So
Yeah.
we do a lot of research up there on, you know, medical issues, you know, why we lose our bone strength in space. Many senior citizens, people like myself, lose our bone strength and muscle strength. So we do a lot of research in space that benefits us. And it's a small fraction of the budget of the United States. Less than 1% of our money goes into space exploration. And it provides so much inspiration. I got inspired as a young boy to become an astronaut. And it propelled me. I worked hard in school. I tried to do my best every day. I went and got my PhD, all because I was inspired. So there's a lot of power that comes from space exploration. And I think it's a great, great investment.
If I may ask this, what would be the one thing that you'd say would be the most important takeout from your entire career and your investment of your life into space exploration, into being an astronaut?
The number one message, again, that I pass on to young students is to follow your dream. Everybody's got a dream inside. And do not let go of that dream. It took me 4 tries applying to NASA to get into the program. I was turned down 3 times in a row. But it was still that passion, that burning passion inside. It's like, I want to do this. So for every person, young students, older, you know, students, whatever your dream is, do not let go of that. Keep working towards it. And you can, I'm quite convinced you can accomplish anything you want to in your lifetime.
Wow. Thank you so much for
Magic.
being here this morning. We really do appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your tour.
Thanks.
in South Africa.
I'm so honored to be on Expresso and having a great time here in Cape Town in South Africa.
Excellent
Thank
stuff.
you,
Well,
sir.
Dr. Thomas will be traveling around the country until the 9th of November. And if you want to find out more about where he'll be speaking or how to buy tickets, then head on over to livingmaths.com, where you can find all the information you need.